15 seconds.
Hold order. City Council regular meeting for Monday, May 4th, 2026. Call please.
Councilmember Sanchez. Present. Vice Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Councilmember Calderon.
Here.
Councilmember Roberts.
Here. Allegiance. Stand. Salute. Flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. See no proclamations or introductions of new and promoted employees.
We do have one. Mr. Mayor and City Council, we do have one employee that is in the audience today that we're happy to introduce you. His name is Jamie Lovano. He's going to be our new recreation manager. Jamie has been with the city. He's originally from Paradise, I believe. Feel free to come up, Jamie, if you want to introduce yourself. We believe he'll be a great asset to the community. He's already.
I can talk really loud, so I think I met everybody here earlier today. Yes, my name is Jamie Lovano. I am not new to Greeley, post Campfire. Ended up in Biggs for about 14 months with some good friends that I met through swim team, and then was in Greeley for a month. Biggs for 14 months, but I'm here in Greeley now. We moved in our home off of Vandermark right during COVID. So we had the opportunity to live in a house with no furniture and all that stuff because nobody had anything. But yeah, I've loved the opportunity to be here, work as a recreation manager. I was very involved in the Paradise Rec department up there with both my daughters when they were up there. My oldest daughter graduated from UC Davis with a biology degree. My youngest daughter is graduating from Yuba College. And then they're both going to be moving to Oregon at the end of the summer. So it was bittersweet. Ironically, I was talking to, oh my God, I forgot your name. Yes. What's that?
Pamela.
Pamela. Just in the audience right now about like my daughter is doing sports, and I found out that Mr. Roberts, you did hurdles. My youngest daughter was a defending section champion 2 years in a row, last 23 and 24. And the only athlete to do that in Greeley was Leslie Denise, way back when, if you guys know Leslie. Yeah. Or her mentor coach, Mr. Roach, who passed away earlier. I was able to go to the celebration of life and speak to his wife, see Leslie there, and just give them praise for all the things that they've done. But I have a lot of ideas. I'm grateful for the opportunity to bring them to Greeley and expand the recreation for all citizens, the little ones and retired ones. I think it's important for community and family to be involved in recreation in all forms, and I'm looking forward for that opportunity. So thank you guys very much.
You go by James?
Jamie, yeah,
Jamie.
Jamie, yeah. Or as when I was substituting, this would have been my, prior to accepting this position, I was halfway through the credential program to become a teacher for multiple subjects for grades 3, 4, or 5. But this opportunity came up and I started thinking about it more. And I'm like, I kind of do this stuff already. I talk to people all the time. And so now it's like opportunity to like actually do more, you know, and get some more recognition for bringing some new ideas. So I'm like, let me roll with this because I think this is a great opportunity for myself and my family because we're established here in Greeley now, and we're here for the long term. My wife actually also worked for Greeley Unified School District as the district nurse. So very connected to community and family, and so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any participation forum, members of the public may address the city on matters not listed on the agenda. The city council may not discuss or take any action on any community participation item brought forward by a member of the community. Comments are requested to be limited to 3 minutes.
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Have anybody? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. I have a motion on the consent agenda.
If we have a question on the consent agenda, do we have to pull it or may I ask?
That's within the discretion of the mayor on how he wants to run the meeting. And we will open it up to public comment before we entertain a motion as well, Mr. Mayor.
Open it for public comment.
Yeah, no question, but yeah, okay.
I'll open up the public comment on the consent agenda. Seeing none. Forward, did you have a question or something you wanted to bring up?
No, okay, thank you.
Okay. Moving on, we'll go to.
We need to have a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll say.
Councilmember Calderon,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Yes,
Okay. Now, we will move to item number 2, informational item. Behavior health facility. Member Sanchez, let's keep on that.
yeah, I can get us started. So I brought item number 2 before us. It was requested solely for informational purposes. So this was this facility upgrade is something that I know our planner has previously mentioned at prior meetings during department updates. But I know there was some robust conversation on Facebook a couple weeks ago on this item. And I just requested simply to have a fuller presentation on what exactly the county is planning to do with this expansion. Like I said, I know that we previously heard a little bit about it, but if we can get a little bit more of an in-depth conversation. I know it's a 10,000 square foot expansion. It's simply a relocation of Butte County Behavioral Health's current facilities on Spruce over to what would be Hazel, next to Veterans Memorial Building. So again, this was merely for us to get a little bit more of an update.
It's not gonna be on Hazel, it's gonna be on.
Or
Sycamore.
Thank you.
So what about the last 4 points? Just go to that.
Evening, Mayor and Council. So, as Councilmember Sanchez mentioned, it's a 10,000 square foot facility located at 267 Sycamore Street. This is right next to the WIC building as well as the Veterans Memorial Hall. This came about because there was a grant for the disaster recovery, and the county was making their whole mental health facility more robust and kind of filling in some gaps. And they created projects all over the county with Chico, with Mooresville, with different kind of end goals in mind. Already having a project here locally, Kindness actually, that was being, it's in a state where they feel like they're all kind of sitting on top of each other. There's just not enough space. The need has exceeded their capacity. So this seemed like a proper use for them, and they have limited space to work with. So this was a piece of land that they already owned that was already zoned for this type of use. It's a public, quasi-public zoning, and that allows these medical facilities by right. So they expect this building to cost about $6 to 7 million. This is all on the county to do this, to pay for this. And it's going to primarily serve Gridley residents, as it currently does. Their goal is to have it completed by 2027, so roughly a year from now. They had several hearings to hear from the residents. They said that not very many people showed up, maybe 1 or 2 people, and they weren't real concerned or too vocal. They did, however, request feedback, and they did get some feedback on what kind of services they would like to see. And what they saw was, or what they heard back was crisis staffing. So when there is an immediate crisis, something happening on site, someone from inside the building can go and respond to that. Or if they can get that individual to the site, then they can deal with it in-house. But it sounded like most of the time these are probably issues that people are where they'll go to the person, the individual. And it may alleviate, hopefully, law enforcement from having to deal with things if they can get a mental health specialist on site. But it also allows for people who are just passing through, and they may have some kind of a panic attack or some kind of challenge, and they're not necessarily from this area. They would potentially have access to that type of service immediately. They also have heard back from the substance use crisis. So people who are struggling with substance abuse and drug addiction. This would add those services to their current repertoire of services. On-site screening for telecare. So a lot of their telehealth services, or a lot of their clients are telehealth people. It's for a variety of reasons. Some people don't have transportation. Some people don't want to be seen going into the building. And they don't want the reputation of being somebody who is trying to deal with some challenge in life. So telehealth is a common way of people dealing with this. So they'll bring in people who can evaluate somebody to see if they're right for that type of service. They currently have 11 staff members in that building over there. They anticipate that these added services would increase their services or their staff by 3 people, making a total of 14 people staffed in there. This is outpatient only. Nobody will be in the building. Nobody will be staying overnight. There aren't any facilities to accommodate that. So it'll be available to county Medicare patients specifically, as well as people who don't have any kind of health care. So they can get their foot in the door and they can get signed up for services that help pay for these types of services. And it's a way of kind of getting people moving in the right direction and getting that funding for them. They're not required to be Gravely residents, so they can come from a different city. There are some people who like to do this, again, for the purpose of privacy. They don't want to be in their own community seen walking into a behavioral health facility. They're afraid of the stigma, and there is still a lot of stigma that is attached to this, and this is a concern for a lot of people. They're not always the way we picture them. Sometimes they're professionals and they want to uphold a reputation. So there are a few people that the representative who we talked to, that he mentioned they do go to a neighboring site, go get their care, and then they go back home. They don't live here or anything, but it sounds like it's the minority. As I said before, this care is available to patients statewide. The way that's handled, and this is because of state law. So if somebody is passing through and going somewhere, they are allowed to stop if they're having a crisis on the road and they need to get off the road and they need to go see somebody, and they will be seen and treated on site. Once they are stabilized, they word it as there's a warm handoff to their place of origin. So they keep them in a position where they feel safe, they feel stable, and then they take them back to wherever their primary care is. Whoever's been seeing them, taking care of them, and they go back to that location. Like I said, the state law reduces the chances of an outsider having a crisis locally that can't be handled because they're trying to visit family, but their care is really 100 miles, 200 miles away, whatever it is. They are also going to be collaborating with the Orchard Youth Health Facility, their new psychiatric in-house patient facility. And so there will be situations where I don't know exactly how that relationship is going to work, but there'll probably be situations where they share those responsibilities. Maybe there's somebody in particular that they've been seeing in the Duke County facility that they want to continue seeing. So even though they are restricted to the Orchard Hospital grounds, and that's where they will be detained. I don't know if that's the right word, but they're not generally sometimes they're not allowed to leave, but they may leave for the sake of seeing their usual healthcare provider. So this is a rendering of what the building is intended to look like. Seems nice. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it.
It's nice.
They're spending a lot of money on it. I tried to make this as legible as possible. Unfortunately, it's a lot of space to make big. So I did cut it into quarters so we could blow it up a little bigger. I tried printing it on paper. It also didn't come out very well. Couldn't get through handouts. They're so small. I couldn't read them. So this is the upper left-hand corner of the diagram. You can see it's a series of offices. There's a youth waiting room and an adult waiting room. And then there's going to be, all the typical support facilities in the area. There's going to be bathrooms, break rooms, a mail room. Couldn't use, probably flip through. There's an area where they have like a group counseling where they can fit a group of people in one area and they can all do group counseling together. And I think that the wellness center is more of a social area where they can freely kind of interact with each other. This is, you know, part of kind of recovering and finding like-minded people who have the same challenges. So that's the long and the short of it. If you have any questions, I can try my best to answer them. I don't know.
Just clarification on some items. This building is designed actually to include all the departments that other clinics have in separate buildings. For instance, Chico has what they call the drop-in center, aftercare center, and they're different buildings. And in Gridley, since we're a small community, but with a lot of mental health issues, we really have serious issues here. They designed this building actually to include all of those services. For instance, there's a serious issue with kids having suicidal ideations. That's an issue right now. And they don't have enough staff to serve all of them. So initially the idea was actually to bring more staff, but they don't have enough space anymore. And possibly having this center will include a lot of services for kids, including group sessions for kids. I hope that it comes to a reality. That's another one. We have a serious issues with suicide in Gridley for the longest time since I've been here. There's also going to be a component for what they call the drop-in center here, the big group. It's an aftercare. It's to actually have people who have chronic mental illness like schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. Those types of disorders can actually come in and staff can monitor the medication levels and the socialization that needs to take place in order for re-entry into the community. Sure. So those are the services that will be provided in this building. Very, very important to us, in my opinion. I gotta say this, that behavioral health had a really difficult time finding space. And a lot of in our community did not want behavioral health next door. This is an issue. We serve people, and here in town, and everybody knows somebody with a mental disorder, and there's some areas where they still refuse to have behavioral health next door, and I hope that changes. I hope the future outreach is improved for behavioral health. They need to advertise more, a little more, be more persistent in calling for meetings, for public hearings regarding this building. There was hardly any notice.
Yeah, I think it was majority was in the newspaper. They do hold monthly meetings that they have a link to where anyone can chime into. They said they would send us that link so we can share that link for those who have questions or suggestions. But yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's difficult to know how best to draw people in to talk about it. But
Any council members have a thought?
Yeah, I would just have a follow-up question to what Councilmember Calderon said. I know, as you mentioned before, because we had some communication about this over the last week, I know that while we can't dictate their design or anything about what would be happening on their property, was the county, did they reach out to the city for any feedback or concerns? I would echo what Councilmember Calderon said. I didn't hear anything about it until it was just posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago. And then I know that you briefly mentioned it over the last couple of months. But before this, I know you said that there were hearings posted. But other than that, I mean, was the city reached out to for consultation?
they were, yes, and then we did discuss. For me, my specialty, my focus is the zoning code. And so we ran it against the zoning code, looking for corrections. I did distribute it to I don't remember who all, but I know that department heads looked at it. We discussed any concerns or anything, but My biggest concern was the parking, making sure there's ample parking and making sure that it didn't lead out to the neighborhood. It did add a few spots and tried to accommodate. I would have liked to see more. But it is a challenging thing when you have two municipalities that are kind of trying to pull for power and get, you know, get something that the community needs without giving up too much or creating an imbalance where we're butting heads, especially when we depend on them for other services and if they're willing to spend money here, do something that's good for the community, then it's difficult to kind of, we just want to be gentle and make sure that we foster healthy relationships with them. So there was some collaboration and they did help accommodate some of those concerns. I would have liked to see more, but.
Can you discuss the parking situation? Since I know we didn't touch on that on your presentation, what does that look like? Is it just on the roundabout there or is it behind the building?
Yeah, so the majority of it is behind the building. They do count the roundabout as part of their parking calculation because all of that property is county land. And so they're merging those properties together so that they're not putting a building on parcel lines. And so they can kind of count all of that towards their parking. The way the code is written is generally to accommodate the max capacity. If all of those buildings are at max capacity, what is the max amount of space that you'll need? And I think that I think I was looking for just under 40 parking spots, maybe it was 38, and I think they got to about 35, or maybe it was 33 or something to that number. And their counter was that the Veterans Memorial is rarely at max capacity, and oftentimes it's in the evening. And then oftentimes even though they have a 10,000 square foot facility, it's not being used as a full time where you have employees that are coming to work in an office that staffs at full capacity. It's they occasionally have patients coming in and out, and they have 14 individuals for 10,000 square feet. I do believe that if you build a 10,000 square feet facility, you'll probably eventually use 10,000 square feet. But a lot of that space is group therapy space, the socializing wellness center, things like a receptionist area. So they're maximizing like dense offices. There's a lot of open space that won't be filled to that full capacity. So, I hope that it's managed well, and I hope that it provides more good than challenges. But we have talked about what kind of options there are in case it does become an issue, such as posting signs along the residential roads that say that it is residents parking only. We haven't decided on exactly how to move forward with that, but there are some countermeasures we can do to make sure that we're looking after the neighborhood.
Thank you. And just two more things. I know earlier you were mentioning that this new building will be serving Medicare patients, but I just want to clarify if you meant Medicaid or both. I know that might be more of a question for behavioral health.
Probably do.
I can answer that.
It's not.
Yeah.
The county agency can only serve people with Medi-Cal. People with Medicare needing would only be serviced by people with LCSWD. That's for the feds. The feds would have that requirement on treatment. But anybody else can actually have access as long as they're medical.
But no private insurance
No,
people.
people with private insurance can go to possibly a better facility.
Unless they're in a crisis.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my last comment would be, I like how you said earlier being gentle. I think I might have to take that from you, but I wanted to say maybe for us to be mindful in how, when we do talk about this, I know earlier you said for people that are passing through, and I'm not sure if people are listening or for conversations that we have out in the community. I think when you hear that, it means a homeless population passing through.
Sure.
But I know that you meant perhaps people that are in need of more immediate urgent care that would be coming to this facility. And those are the people that would be coming through to town to seek those services and going back home. And as you mentioned, maybe they live in Chico or Biggs or Palermo, but Gridley would be the closest facility for them.
Sure, so to maybe clarify, they could be coming from LA, maybe they're just coming up to visit family. And as they're passing through, they get bad news on the phone, something happens that scares them, that puts them in a state of where they feel unstable. They're allowed to stop anywhere and go find a facility to be taken care of. So in that particular case, this situation can be seen by anyone, anywhere. And then once they're stabilized, they're taken back to, where their normal care is.
That's all. Thank you.
Behavioral health has staff here with the police department. I think it's half part-time, is it, chief?
Not anymore. I
Not
mean,
anymore?
it's on call.
Okay. So they have a thing called mobile crisis. So if somebody has needs to be certified 5150, they bring in the mobile crisis unit to assess certification. In the past, I remember collaborating with Councilmember Roberts and a couple people who were having paranoid delusions and things like that. And sometimes law enforcement is involved. And I don't know, I thought they would continue to have a staff member actually at least one day a week with the police department. It's needed. And most people in behavioral health will do a 5150, but they're limited as far as what they can do outside the office.
So I have a question there. So my first question is, has Butte County Behavioral Health Advisory Board ever reached out to us to explain that they were going to put this facility in town?
I don't know the answer to that.
That was the advisory board. I just completed my 3-day engagement, 3-year engagement with behavioral health. They had a difficult time finding space. The only reason they're building, they haven't this structure built, is because they found county property here, right next door to
I
the
understand.
Veterans Hall.
I understand, yeah, I understand that part. But I guess I'm looking back, I looked back through some of the minutes that the committee has. And they were discussing this 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, so,
So I mean,
Of course,
we didn't hear anything about it.
yeah, I don't know what was happening.
We had a board member that was there and could have reported on it because we could have actually known back then.
Yeah.
So the second thing that I guess my other question would be is we have a homeless population that lives out behind the cemetery. And I believe there is some type of support that comes in. Maybe I'm wrong. I know there was before. Maybe once, maybe bi-monthly that would come in and give them some kind of support. I'm not sure what that entails. Are they still doing that or?
I haven't heard of them doing that in a while.
Okay. I didn't know if this facility would take place of that. And maybe you're not, you maybe can't answer that.
Yeah, check in and tell in. They didn't express any intention to do that. I'm not, this facility is for people who are voluntarily deciding to come in and get help. And that sounds like more of an outreach where they're trying to recruit or serve people on site. It didn't sound like that's what their intention was. I think this is.
Yeah.
This is a clinic.
Yeah.
So it's a clinic. Okay.
It's a clinic. It's treated as a clinic. You have counselors, nursing staff, doctors. It's a clinic.
So people that would be using that facility is on a voluntary basis. Okay, so it's something that's not mandatory, so.
It's not a holding facility.
it's not a whole
No.
facility.
No, this currently we have the structure behind City Hall that it's a small office and it's those type of services that are gonna be in that building.
I guess,
So-
instead of beating around the bush, I guess what I'm asking is this facility gonna be a place where people can go in and get their I think they were providing money or services out there when they were going out behind the cemetery. Is that something where they would be going in and using that facility for those benefits?
This isn't the kind of place where they hand out money. I think this is,
Okay.
they may have a prescription process where they might prescribe mental health care.
And it's open to Butte County,
It's open to Butte County, correct?
to Butte County.
Correct, yeah.
Vice Mayor, the Mental Health Services Act provides money for special populations, and the homeless is a special population. Last year, remember Proposition 1? They actually passed it, and most of the money allocated now is going to the homeless. So they have a special team, and it collaborates with Ampla Health and other and some of the missions in Chico and Oroville. And whoever needs shelter, they can provide that, but they have to actually go and find them in wherever they are camping. In some areas in Chico, they really don't like the homeless, so they move them out. And I know that's it's an issue, and in Greeley, I haven't seen a lot of issues regarding the homeless. Other than some people complaining that they're drinking on the park or something like that.
Come to my house. Anyway.
I don't want to stay on.
I have a question I'd like to bring up. We have, if somebody comes into this facility and they're having a right now crisis or whatever, and they threaten one of the staff or physically grab them and threaten them. I mean, you read about it all the time. And they need somebody there that can stop that from happening. Where are they gonna go? Are they gonna go to our Ridley Police Department? Or are they gonna go to the Butte County Sheriff Department to stop any kind of illegal thing go on? I mean, where's the law enforcement?
I would anticipate they'll, I think a lot of times they share that those
It'll be
responsibilities.
Gridley Police Department.
Okay.
Now, if there's ever an issue at the current building, which it's very rare, they call us, we go over and Gridley deals with it.
So the backup law enforcement will be Gridley on this facility.
Yes.
Right.
Is that?
That's the jurisdiction.
Sure.
So if the call comes in from jurisdiction that's in the city, our police department handles it.
Sure.
Good to know. Any other comments?
Do you have any more?
Okay, yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
I'll open up to the public. Public got anything they have to bring up? Subject. Seeing none. We'll move on.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Planning Commission vacancy. Council review planning commission. Letter of interest and consider appointment to the vacancy.
Mayor and council, the city of Gridley currently has one vacancy in the planning commission. As you recall, the last meeting, there were 2 appointments. There was 1 vacancy left. The position carries a 4-year term. It would be expiring December 31st, 2029. The city did receive 1 expression of interest from individuals seeking to serve on the planning commission after the deadline of April 6th. And 1 has remained unfilled. So we are bringing to this interest to you to see if you would like to appoint Paige Williams Emery to the position. Again, the Planning Commission is a citizen advisory body of 5 members that plays a central role in guiding the city's growth, development, preservation of community character. It operates under the authority granted by state law and the Gridley Municipal Code and serves as an important quasi-judicial body in the local government decision-making. Attached to the staff report, we have the application for the appointment from Paige Emery. I believe she is here today. And we are recommending that you consider receive the letter of interest submitted for a planning commission vacancy and consider making the appointment to fill the vacancy.
I did read her application. I really like her responses. I only had one brief question. We talk about annexation and annexation of being strategically incautious. And what does that really mean?
It's just a bunch of fancy words to let me know, to let you know that I will be listening and learning a lot. And I take in economical and ecological factors very greatly in my philosophy.
I like your idea of the development, the housing developments and the way you presented the structuring. So
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Any other comments? McKenna?
Yeah, hi, Dave, Harry Heritage. I wanted to just ask a little bit of follow-up on your resume. So, currently you said that you are a registered nurse. Are you traveling?
Licensed vocational nurse.
Or vocational?
Yeah,
Okay.
I work for Nurses and Professional Healthcare currently. And most of my shifts are in Oroville or Reading skilled nursing facilities. And that's just when I'm sort of like on call. They call me up and say, we have an emergency here, they need staff. Can you do it?
So then that means that you wouldn't have any issues making, I would assume it would be evening meetings on Wednesdays still?
Yeah, I work knock shifts, so the shifts don't start till 10:30 at night, and I only take 3 a month.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? Yeah.
I also read that you relocated from Paradise.
I did.
And I remember in the news when the fire happened. Is that around the time you came?
I came when they built the FEMA camp. And the first day it opened, the city of Gridley sent some representatives over there for a barbecue. And I came out and met people and really just fell in love with everyone.
So how do you like it?
I love it. My partner bought his first home here on Park Street. Corner of Laurel and Park. We love it.
I would have a follow-up question to some of your answers. And I know you also mentioned that and then something else that you're involved with in your day job is as a salesperson of Keller Williams. Do you anticipate any conflicts, and if there are any conflict of interest with items that come before the planning commission, that you would recuse yourself, correct?
Oh, absolutely. If there's any hint of any conflict, I would recuse myself on those projects.
Yeah.
Any more comments? Any more comment? Would you like to?
Oh, no, I'm just really happy to be here. Thank you all for having me. Being so friendly. This is great.
Well, it is consideration to make an appointment to fill this vacant planning commission seat. Anybody object to this page?
Make a motion.
Well, and we just need to see if there's any other public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, well, I'm going to forget. Any discussion from the public? Seeing none, we will open a motion.
Lovely. Motions?
I'll second.
The motion second, roll call please.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes,
Councilmember Calderon,
Yes.
Mayor Farr.
Yes.
welcome aboard.
No other items for consideration? Move to the council committee reports.
I'm not participating in any committees right now, but I am still working on the senior appreciation day. I talked to a number of agencies already, and they have a hard time working on weekends. So I'm thinking about moving the day to maybe a Wednesday in June.
I've got you to report. It's got a brief report on air quality. Some of the things we went over. We accepted the GASB 68 calipers pension evaluation report. And the GASB 75 ARC OPED evaluation and disclosure report. And final approval for the CAP incentive project. So one of the things that there was a grant that air quality had that like $100,000 that could be used for, cleaning up the air. And we had $100,000 that could be divided up into three different things that we can use it for. One was for CARD, which is, I believe, in Chico, that has to do with sports. And also there was a school in Thermalito that their parking lot was gravel. So this money could be used for covering up that gravel. And also there was a company that was advocating to put in parking arguers for electric cars in areas. So we chose, the board chose dividing that money up between the parking lot for the school, and I think it was 65%, 35% went to CARD. And then also ECAG was we pretty much approved what we did. We approved the unmet transit needs for fiscal year 2026. By approving that, we could distribute money for streets and roads and stuff. Also, we approved a resolution, the County Association of Government Public Participation Plan. And that's pretty much it. General. Under that, I have meetings coming up. I've got mosquito abatement coming up. And flood control and LAFCO was canceled this month, unfortunately. So I'll have reports on those items probably after the 15th. That's all I have. Thank you.
I guess I have a question first before I say something. So I know if I wanted to share two updates that I got from a director, could I share them here? Like, for example, on the Feather River Crossing, sports complex. Would you want to touch on those, or can I go ahead and read the email?
You're just welcome to share
Okay.
what you received.
Oh, so I was communicating with Dave Harden, in regards to the Feather River sewer crossing and the sports complex, since we hadn't had an update since the last time we voted or discussed those items a couple months ago. So I was just asking if it would be okay if I could read their update, unless you all don't wanna get that update.
Well, it's just something that we need on the agenda.
No, it's just informational.
It's informational, and you could do it for the council and also the public, for their knowledge as well.
This would be a consultant, Dave Harden, our consultant.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, different.
Go ahead.
Okay, so for the sports complex update, because the last time I believe we talked about that was when we voted. The draft seismic study has been provided to the lighting company for design revisions. Recently, they requested more information from the geotech engineer, which was provided a couple days ago. We are still waiting for the revised design of the light foundations so that we can get a revised cost estimate from the contractor. Once we have that, we can look at where that puts us with budget and evaluate the options with the state grant program. Now that the geotech reports have been reviewed, I have requested final reports, which are anticipated to be delivered in mid-May. And then as to the Feather River sewer crossing, This is from Dave, we did submit the amendment to the State Water Board for the reallocation of the funds so that we can reevaluate the feasibility of the options. The amendment will reallocate funds from the 90% design documents, plan specs and estimate back to preliminary planning as we look at what costs would be for going deeper under the river. Likely not the best option anymore, or an over the water crossing, likely the East Gridley Road Bridge. We have followed up several times with the water board and we get the same response every time. Quote, it is with my supervisor for review and signature, end quote. The PM from the water board has also been changed twice on me. So that adds delays and confusion. Although they have said that they don't see any issues with the amendment being approved, since we are not asking for more money, we are cautious to start work and charge to the project without full authorization and certainty we can recoup the cost. Even with as long as I have been doing this job, I'm always surprised at how long it takes to get things approved at the state level. And again, I just wanted us to touch on that since it's been a while. And then I just want to say publicly, thank you, Martin. I know the last couple of months he has been doing dual jobs with managing finance department, which is important, and then also helping lead our recreation director. And congratulations again, Jamie Hyman, for being here. And again, thank you to Martin for doing double duty for us. And I think this is the second time that he's done that. So thank you. That's all for me. Thanks.
City administrator report.
Yeah, wanted to just provide an update. We had a meeting with Waste Management. They brought in their government liaison personnel for troubleshooting problems that we may come across. We talked about dump day, potential dates in October. They offered to extend their contract, which I appreciate the offer, but I think we have to go out for RFP, which they were informed that that's what we would be doing. They did mention they'll be coming to council more regularly, providing information that they're sending out to the public. They are also involved in a lot of the city public events that we have, Rex Vendors Day. And they usually have a table out with information. So I think we'll be reaching out to them on a regular basis. I did mention to them the concerns we had with reports where dumping was occurring into one trash vehicle. And they said they have since then addressed it and that would not be happening again. So it has been brought to their attention and they believe that they informed me that it has been remedied.
Good for them.
So that's where we're at on that. The clean mobility, we did apply for a grant. We were informed today, late this afternoon, that it was for the EV charging station. We did not meet it was very competitive and so we didn't receive the grant. So that's a report I wanted to add on. I'm sure Martine will touch more on that. Been working with council on budgets, on staff with budgets. Preliminary with Martine and department heads. And then we did have a meeting with Comala, sister city agency. We went over potential discussions on sharing of artwork and their potential visit in August to the fair. We talked about how we could promote sister city through something that really doesn't cost anything other than having a Facebook page, and then talked about sharing and having live streams of potential they have a lot of artisan masters over there, so maybe we could do live streams on that and engage both communities in that sense. And then also I did attend a water district with LAFCO joint meeting. It's a quarterly meeting that Chris probably can touch on a little more. Attended that and it was quite helpful. We went over several projects with them, took in some concerns they may have or just adjustments on what we're looking at for future developments and current projects. And then also I attended the federal legislative regulatory conference in DC, there were a lot of topics that were touched on. I'll just give a few highlights. Wildfire mitigation liability reform, hydropower reservoir sediment removal, hydropower relicensing and permitting reform. The most important that I felt was for Gridley was the hydrogen, LEC. There is, where the NCPA and the city was, my attendance there as well. We're urging Congress and the administration to restore the federal support for the LEC hydrogen project, which, if you all are aware, that's the LEC project. We receive revenue from that, and that assists the city with keeping our rates lower. And so we facilitated several meetings with the congressman and also the senator. And then also we anticipate to have more funding for this project. We were asking for that. We also talked a little bit about pole attachments, decisions, language. As you are aware, we have poles throughout the city, so there's regulations on what other utilities can put on poles, and sometimes there's some calculations that need to be done. So all of that is cost and something with our community. My point to attending these was to really emphasize how Gridley, we're a small rural utility company. We're in a rural town. We have the benefit of having our own power and structuring our rates way lower than PG&E, which is a cost saving to the community. We're very fortunate that also we can subsidize a little bit of that, as other cities do with their general fund, which supports our police and our fire departments. We are very unique in the sense that we do have our own police department. We're fortunate that we have the electricity and the ability to really manage those costs. So one of the things I touched on while I was there is expressing to them not to lock us into and compare us to investor-owned utilities, because we are publicly owned utilities. We are not for profit. We set our rates to operate, not to gain profit, and we're not run by investors. We're run by the community. So this utility is basically owned by the community of Gridley. So stressing that in these meetings was the position I took, and I was very vocal in that. So I want to thank you for the opportunity. It was hosted by not by PG&E, by NCPA. PG&E was a bit main topic there. That's what I wanted to add on. But yeah, hosted by NCPA. So thank you.
I have no question. LEC, are they still using natural gas to produce electricity for turbines? Is that up and running mostly?
Yeah, they're trying, it's been down. I think they've had some issues with it. But I think the overall cost, it's the maintenance and also so grants help a lot to keep it running, but that's really helping the city. We're making money from that, so.
I have a question on the hydrogen thing. When I was there last time, that kind of fell wayside. Was any support for that? Is it now support being generated in Washington for that?
Yeah, I think when we met with the congressmen and the senators, I think they were all well aware of all of these issues. They're very supportive of that. And I think they're under a lot of pressure to get bipartisan approval on a lot of these issues that are coming before them. So
it's still
ongoing.
It's still cooking and working.
Yes.
Going forward.
Yes.
I have a question too. Has there been any talk with Waste Management about adding a second dump day, since the one in the fall has usually been pretty successful? Has there been any conversation of maybe having another one in the spring?
That's something that we haven't had a second one, but it's something that we can definitely ask. I think what we talked about today was what they experienced and what they saw. There was a lot of commercial people that were running commercial businesses to dump, were loading trailers and trying to take them in. And it's basically for the community. It's not commercial dumping. So one of the things they talked about was what would be the best option, whether we do a mail insert with a utility bill and have that each person bring that in. What we've been doing is requiring a utility bill. But you have people that are handing their utility bills to others. So if one of the options they suggested was maybe a voucher. My concern with that is you're supposed to be able to use that multiple times if you can make more trips. So we'd have to either do a hole punch, or they would have to issue tickets numerically and we track them that way. The point is to get that used by the residents, not for commercial use. And we had, I think there were, I believe, Jim, you were there, you saw they turned away big trailers that were trying to come through and dump through there. So we're trying to kind of structure it so that it's used appropriately. But that's a good option to ask, is for a second dump day in the spring, possibly.
Yeah.
We're trying to regulate it so that it's done after the 14-mile yard sale. So that if they didn't sell everything, that they can go ahead and use that to kind of,
For me, it sounds like we need a commercial dump day, if there is any.
we can definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what my comment was gonna be, is a commercial dump day or years ago, I remember living next to, out in the country, living next to a gentleman. And I think the state or the county had what do you call it? Hey, give us a call if you have anything that's toxic or might explode, and we'll, without saying anything to you or anything, they just come out and get it. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad they took advantage of it, because this gentleman had dynamite. I'll tell you who it was afterward. Okay, dynamite. And I had children at the time that were 30 feet away from this building that had dynamite. But maybe something that, for toxic stuff or something, once a year where people, aren't having this stuff laying around, they can go in and give it up.
The other thing I wanted to mention too was the Ord Ranch Station. They did some cleanup back there with some removal. I'm gonna take a drive out. They just finished cleaning that up. There's still some concerns with break-ins and some damage, so we're gonna talk about lighting and having more better fencing. But they've been improving the site. They're curious if we would want to be open 3 days versus 2, because right now they're only open Saturday and Sunday. So they're wondering if maybe adding another day would be something we would entertain. So.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Any questions?
You done?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to department head updates.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I'll start out with our emergency responses for the month of April. Station 74 here in Gridley ran a total of 118 emergency incidents during April. 65 of those were city incidents and 53 were county incidents. Our year-to-date is 518 calls for service. Tomorrow, our personnel will be attending the final Red Suspenders Day planning meeting. We are hoping to have the new ladder truck at Red Suspenders Day, where it has now moved from Sacramento to Fairfield, and it's been there for about a week. And so we're hoping if, even if it's not able to be in the parade, that we can have a static display at Red Suspenders Day, and that's something that we can talk about moving forward. Then our station here participated in the Butte Fire Academy ride-along program, and they had 4 fire cadets come through and do 24-hour ride-alongs with them at the station. And then our personnel have been engaged in a number of ladder truck operations related trainings. And so we've been putting some of our newer employees through those trainings to get them certified in truck operations. It's a fairly rigorous process to get them there, and then also to maintain competency employees that already have that training completed. Obviously with the new ladder truck, we want to make sure that everybody's trained up, ready to go. Be happy to answer any questions. All right, thank you.
Council. Let's see, as a administrator, Doug had mentioned, we are meeting with the water districts as usual. It's a very productive meeting. They're actually great to work with. They gave us some insight on what they would like to see, and I asked them to kind of detail out, well, how can I relay information better to developers? So if somebody comes in and they're getting close to the water districts, maybe kind of break down different levels of care that they could have in taking care of those waterways. Obviously, it could be as simple as fencing or blocking off the area, or as in-depth as burying it all together, but hopefully some leveling of debris in between so that it doesn't kill projects. But there's a conversation to be had to make sure that we're being mindful of how we approach those. Aside from that, I think Pacific Flyway is still kind of struggling with that soft ground. They're continually trying to get it compacted. Obviously, this on and off rain isn't really helping, but they're still working on their on ground improvements. So not a whole lot of progress there. Orchard View, on the other hand, they've managed to not have any of those issues, and they went vertical a while ago. They've finished their framing. They're looking at putting windows in, and then beginning the internal like four-way closing type stuff. So they're pretty productive. That particular project relies on them giving regular updates to the HCD and to the state, and I participate in those meetings, so that's something I kind of get to hear on a regular basis, and they're actually moving along pretty well. Aside from that, everything else is a little more stagnant. Probably seen 21 East Gridley not really doing much, and on the other hand, we do have some of those trucking depots out in the industrial area that they're also struggling to make a viable plan. A real big concern is that they're also, one of them is having compaction issues themselves, and that's raising concerns of the permeability of the soil. And having a use like that out there is concerning when you potentially have a gas leak or oil leak and it's so close to the water table and a well out there. And so finding the proper mitigation to a use like that, we don't want it to be an unattainable use for the industry. We want to be able to bring businesses in and allow them to thrive, but it can't be at the expense of our water sources. And so what that solution looks like is still a little nebulous, but working towards it. Outside of that, we're still working on the safety element and the environmental for Legacy. So two really big projects that are going to take a while, but they are moving forward. We would meet with each of the consultants weekly, so make sure that we're making progress. Legacy's been really good in participating and being active participants, like really trying to help and be good Samaritans and moving the project forward for everyone's benefit, for themselves as well. So makes sense, but it's been really good. So outside of that, if you have any questions, by all means.
Yeah, you met with the two water districts.
Certainly, right.
East West Gridley and Blue Water. Did you meet with the drainage districts? Were they included that group?
Is that already
Stanley. Yeah, he was there.
I think the only one who missed out was Jeff Spence. He had some other.
Yeah, I think he's engineered for 2 or 3 of those, but
It's for all of them.
our drainage ditches are just about as important as irrigation for.
And we want to make sure they all have.
I do have a question. Where are we at with the Richards Avenue project?
So we just wrapped up conversations today and we're ready to record for tomorrow. They were struggling to understand one of the requirements, which was a generator. I think we clarified everything this morning, and they said they can have it delivered by tomorrow morning. So upon delivery, Pam and I plan on going down to the county to wrap up that recordation.
I have a question too. Earlier you mentioned about the industrial part and how you needed some folks to revisit their plans. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Are you talking about people that are already occupying some of the slots there or people coming in?
Yes, Councilman Street, they are already occupying and we're trying to get them into compliance. So,
Is this, for example, the lot that's on the right when you're going in that has a lot of trucks there right now, or?
correct, there's two different parcels that are on the right, and one is to the north and to the south, they butt each other there.
And so having those vehicles there now is creating compaction issues? Is what you're
Well,
saying?
the southern parcel is actually very well compacted and they're not having any issues whatsoever. And I couldn't tell you exactly why, but that was a parcel that was used by FEMA for, I understand they had a bunch of equipment there already, so they may have gone through some extra care. But it could also just be the nature of the soil from that distance away from each other. Because that northern parcel has ran compactors over that soil over and over again over the course of the past 6 months or so. And they're struggling to get the compaction they need. And unfortunately, it's also causing problems with drainage. And so anytime you disturb the dirt over and over again, whatever the original grading was that gave the drainage, the desired drainage that we wanted, is probably being lost. So I have talked to him and warned him about using that area and not having it in good condition and the effects of having separate. It shouldn't be bleeding out into our streets. It shouldn't be having an impact on neighboring uses. And if it's a problem, then we need to make sure it's addressed. So I think he has moved a lot of those vehicles out of there, and he understands that he can't become a nuisance or else it will. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Chris.
Mayor Council. Quick updates. One was been working on the budget, or with Martine Finance, trying to get everything going. Excuse me, so I can have a presentation coming up on the 14th. Another thing, in our earlier meeting this morning, City Administrator Lisa, she asked if I could go out and check on Highway 99, look at the light standards or the light poles, their locations and such, if they are ADA in compliance. Every one of them that I checked is. One at 7-Eleven on the corner by 2 inches. It's partially because there is a signal light base there, and they're working between that and 7-Eleven's property. So that's what narrowed that up.
Sure.
There's some pictures that I took of the different ones walking out. If you're interested in seeing them, if they got converted okay. They didn't like my phone for some reason. So that's the one that I just talked about. Right there at that angle point by the power box for the signals. That was that's the tight spot. But it is legal.
Do you know what the ADA compliant
4 feet.
was? 4 feet, and
Yes.
that's literally 4 feet. Wow.
4 feet 2 inches. Yeah. It was crazy. All the lights going. I went mostly south, actually from AM/PM, and most all of them were within 6 feet, 5 to 6 feet from curb. From I should say not the street curb, but the back of sidewalk. Those bases are like 20 inches in diameter, so when you put them out there, it makes it really look like it's taking up a lot of space.
Yeah.
It's actually to go back to one there. There's 2 in that one planner that I have a question about that I'll probably bring up, and maybe I don't know if Ryan will get with it too. I think they're keeping them back for truck purposes. If 18-wheelers come down there and it's too close to that curb, they'll potentially hit it with their mirror.
Oh.
Yeah, And that's, so I think that's part of why they held them back as far as they did off of face of curb on the street side. Except for the one or two there that was, yeah, those were.
Right on the street here, huh?
Yeah. And I think what is underground kind of determined where they actually set them. You know, I know there's a lot of conduit running through there. We've got water. They've got storm drain running through there. Yeah, that was trying to do with my tape and a truck drove by right when I snapped the picture. The wind took it. But anyway, I just thought I'd show those to you real quick, give you the quick update. I don't know, any questions?
And then obviously there's gonna be trees that go in there as well. Or,
Yes.
yes, that's that we will be responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will be responsible for like those strips there. And we are, I believe, asking for more clarification from Caltrans and the whole project. What is the city's responsibility? How far we have to go?
So have you here, so what are those two dark poles on the green pole right there on the right? Are those first,
I think
the buttons? Are they
Yes.
just the buttons?
Yeah, on in one area, yeah, buttons and to keep people from driving through there. So if there's an accident.
Is that like a state mandate? Cause I noticed that they're putting that at all the
Yeah.
intersections now, okay.
I've overheard of talking about it being like an ADA, it was like an ADA.
I'm not a technical person, so I don't have any opinion on the technical area, but I do emphasize how important this project was.
Mhm.
Due to the number of deaths that occurred on the south end of the 99.
Right.
Like between Dollar Federal and Liberty Road, almost Liberty Road, and in the lighting and on the sidewalk, they look beautiful. As far as I'm concerned, any mother with a stroller, any individual without a vehicle who needs to go to the store will be a lot safer now as opposed to the way it used to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, lighting certainly is it was needed. It helps a lot.
It improves the quality of life for the people who live on the south end of 99.
I agree. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go on to that. Good evening, Mayor, Council. No substantial updates other than we finished our substation maintenance, both in Biggs and Gridley. Everything seems to be fine, other than minor maintenance things that we take care of, cleaning and changing of filters and just testing. Everything tested okay. Obviously the Highway 99 project. I didn't know if there's any other questions you might have about the lighting. As far as where the lights were set, initially we were given a schematic showing that there's going to be lights, but they weren't specific to where they're actually going to go. And I think that's why they ended up in different places when they got there to dig the holes and figured out that they couldn't put it all on one side. So they ended up in different places, but the ADA requirement was how they kind of moved them around. So, but they'll be pulling wire in next week. They should be lit up by the end of the month. Hopefully it stops raining. They're going to start night work for that, pulling in wire. It will require one outage just for the tire shop down to Dutch Brothers. And that'll be done 10 p.m. and I imagine it'll take a couple hours. But they have to pull into a box that has energized wire to make the final connection. So there will be one outage, and I think that will be near the end of the job, so later at the end of the month. Do you have any questions for me? All right. Good.
Nothing to report on the police department.
Okay,
Nothing on time.
Whether report or anything to board, we'll now go to the closed section.